Welcome to Academy.com. In statistics and econometrics, let us discuss about merits and demerits of mean, median, and mode. Advantages and disadvantages of mean, median, mode. First of all, we'll discuss about what is mean, median, mode in short. Mean, median, and mode are three common measures of central tendency used in statistics. The mean is the arithmetic average of set of numbers calculated by adding all the values together and dividing by the number of values. The median is the middle value in a set of numbers, or the average of the two middle values if there is an even number of values. The mode is the most frequently occur value in a set. Each of these measures has its own advantages and disadvantages depending on the data set being analyzed. Read on to explore the advantages and disadvantages of these. First of all, we'll discuss about merits and demerits of mean. Mean is one of the most widely used statistical measure of central tendency. It describes the average value of the given set of numbers. It is calculated by summing up of all the numbers and then dividing them by the total count of numbers in the set. Mean is an important measure in statistics because it indicates the central location of the data set. Central location. This measure is particularly useful for comparing different data sets such as average salaries or profit over several years. Additionally, the mean is a common basis for the measure of central tendencies such as median, mode, and range. Mean is easy to calculate and can be easily represented in some graphs. However, it is also important to note that mean is susceptible to skewness and outliers, which may not be most reliable measure in some cases. In such scenario, other measures such as the median by better represent the data set accurately. Next, what is median? The median is the middle number in a set of numbers sorted from smallest to largest or from largest to smallest. That means ascending or descending order. In that, you have to find the middle number. It is the average of two numbers in the middle if there is an even number in the set. The median is used as an alternative for the mean when the numbers contain outliers that can significantly increases or decreases the average, skewing the result. That means sometimes mean is not suitable for some data. In that case, we have to use median. To find the median of a set of numbers, one must first organize the data set into numerical order, meaning the numbers are in smallest to largest or largest to smallest order. Once the data is in this order, it is easy to determine the median. If the set is an odd number, then the middle number is your median. If the set is an even number, you must find the two middle numbers and average them together to get our own median. Mode. Mode is a term used in mathematics to describe the most common value in a data set. It is one of the measures of central tendency and provides valuable information about the data. Mode is useful in many applications of mathematics, including descriptive statistics, regression analysis, and forecasting. While there may be better measure in some situations, it can give an insight into data that may be missed when looking at the mean or median. The mode of a data set is simply the value of the value that appears most often. Look at this example. These are the data given. In that, the mode would be 6 because 6 is 3 times available. That is most times available number is a 6. So it's a mode. The mode can also be found for non-numeric data such as categories. It can provide a quick idea of data distribution or how the data are clustered around the certain values. For example, mode of a set of height measurement is 6 feet. We can infer that most of the heights are around that values. The mode can also be used to find outliers in the data set. If a value appears significantly more or less than the other values, it can be considered an outlier. That means in a data set, some number is not in between the data sets, it is clustered out. That means it outliers. It means more higher or more least. This can be useful in identifying anomalies in a set that may need further investigation. Mode is a simple but powerful tool for understanding data. It can provide insight that may need to be noticed when looking at the mean or median and can be useful first step in data analysis. Now we'll discuss one by one advantage of mean. Using the mean or average has many advantages. Calculating the mean of a data set gives an overall view of the typical values in the data set. This makes that easier to compare data sets and analyze trends. It also minimizes the effect of outliers or unusually high or low values that is not representative of the population as a whole. Another advantage of using the mean is that it is easy to compute. All you need to do is that add up all the data points in your set and divide that by the number of points you have. It is easier to compute. Even for large and complex data sets, this is a relatively quick operation, making it an ideal choice for most situations. The mean also makes it easier to compare multiple data sets with each other. For example, you could compare the mean scores of two classes to see which one is performing better. The mean is also useful for identifying correlation between different pieces of data. Now further, that advantage of means are reliably represents central tendency. Mean is a measure of a central tendency that reliably represent the central tendency. It is one of the most popular, if not the most, central tendency measures. It is an average set of numbers. This measures helps to understand or summarize a large set of numbers by representing their overall average values. Mean has many advantages, one of which is that it is easy and simple to compute. Secondly, it is resistant to extreme values or outliers and is immune to sharp peaks in the data. This makes it a robust central tendency measurement. Additionally, mean forms the basis of numerous statistical tests and techniques such as linear and logistic regression, t-stat, ANOVA test, and STD deviation, etc. This makes it more powerful than the other measures in uncovering pattern trends and relationships in data. Next is quick to calculate. A major advantage of the mean is that it provides an overall measure of central tendency and spread in the data set. It gives you an idea of what is average in the data and how much variation the data has. Next is variable for comparison. For instance, using the mean, you can see how one value is measured against another. For example, compare the average ages of two different groups. By calculating the mean, you can get an accurate picture of the overall difference between the two groups without getting overwhelmed by the numbers. Another great benefit of the mean is that it measures central tendency, allowing you to identify data trends and outliers. A high mean can indicate an overall trend in our data and highlights unusually high or low numbers, enabling you to evaluate your data quickly. The mean is a great way to identify your set's most representative data points. Disadvantages of mean. This will explore the disadvantages of using mean heading in writing so that you can make an informed decision before including them in your work. Here, looking at the average or mean of a set of numbers is helpful in quickly discovering a great deal about the data. For instance, we can determine the most commonly occurred number and the range of values present in the data set by looking at the mean. However, when looking at the mean, there are some distinct drawbacks. The primary problem with the mean is that it can be highly miscalculated by extreme values, also known as outliers. The mean is a basic statistic with potential drawbacks. Looking at other metrics alongside the mean can provide a better understanding of the data set and avoid distortions caused by outliers. Advantages of median. The median is the middlemost value in a given set of numbers, and it provides some advantages compared to the more common measures of central tendency such as mean and mode. The median can be used to measure the central tendency of a data set when there are outliers or extremely large values. If there is extremely outliers and large values, you have to find a median, which is a better choice. It's also useful when dealing with ordinal and discrete data, such as test scores in which the values are not continuous. One of the primary advantages of the median is that it is less affected by the presence of extreme values or outliers. Even in data sets, there is extreme values or outliers, it won't affect more the median. Finally, the median is favored by some statisticians because it is resistant to skewness in the data. Skewness is the distortion of the data in one direction or another. And since the median is not affected by the value of the set. In overall, using the median when analyzing a data set is beneficial as it is more resistant to outliers, negative values and skewness than the mean. Furthermore, understanding the median will help make more informed decisions when analyzing the data sets. Disadvantages of median. The median is a statistical measure of the median value within a set of values. The value separates the higher half from the lower half when the values are arranged in a numerical order. Despite its usefulness in many scenarios, the median has several advantages that must be considered when analyzing data. The main disadvantage of the median is that it does not indicate how varied the values are in the set. That means it does not indicate how, that is, a median does not indicate how varied the values are in the set. To illustrate, if a data set is comprised of 5 values that are all of the same, the median value will still be that one value, making it look like the entire set is uniform. However, in reality, the set is not uniform at all. By considering the range of values, researchers can get a full picture of the data set. The second disadvantage of using the median is that it is sensitive to outliers. It is sensitive to outliers. When outliers are present, they may have an exaggerated effect on the median. For example, look at this. The data are 1, 2, 3, 340 and 500. This is 1, 2, 3 is a normal, but 340 and 500 is suddenly increased values. Is analyzed to find the median. The large and small numbers will skew the median value of the set to an unrealistic figure. That is, here adding this means totally 5 numbers, the middle is totally 5 numbers are there, the middle value is 3. At force, this 3 is not good picture for the median. Will skew the median value of the set to an unrealistic figure of 92.5. Here, now here the totally 5 values are there, middle value is 3. 3 is not a good picture for median in this, because it is left side is very less and right side is more higher. The median can be misleading when a data set has an odd amount of values. In such cases, the median is not necessarily the median value of the set and can often be an unrealistic representation of the data. There are certain disadvantages associated with using them. Lack of realism. One of the foremost disadvantages of relying on the median as a measure of the central tendency is that lack of realism it can exhibit. When there are outliers present in a data set values or what are significantly higher or lower than the set of data, the median will not necessarily reflect the true average. It won't reflect the true average of the data set. Difficulties with comparisons. When comparing data set, the median can make it more difficult to gain or accurate understanding of relative magnitude. Discrete data also experience and disadvantages in this regard due to the inherent limitations of the median. Effect of skewed distribution. When data is bimodal or skewed, the median can often become a less reliable measure of central tendency. Skewed data sets have the potential to push the median far away from the true center, rendering the real statistic less useful. Expense. Calculating the median requires each value in a data set to be individually examined, processed, and then ordered. This type of information requires both an exponential amount of time and resources. As a result, the median may not be a valid option when time or financial constraints are present. Next, advantages of mode. The benefits of using a mode is summarizing data sets are numerous. For one, it is a simple method that requires minimal calculation and effort. As a result, it is very efficient and straightforward. very efficient and straightforward because it is easy to calculate and quicker. Also, it helps to identify the most frequent data element in a set, which can help to provide an overall view of data. Additionally, it can be used to find out if there is an outlier in the data set and help to identifying underlying trends in the data. It is useful tool for comparing two or more data sets, as it can determine if the data follows the same pattern. Overall, the mode is a great and versatile tool for summarizing data sets and should be implemented in any data analysis project. Reliability and accuracy of mode. Mode is very reliable and accurate in measuring the central tendency of variables that are categorical in nature. It is easy to interpret and it is not affected by the outliers for or extreme value in the data set. Time and cost efficiency. Mode is the most time and cost efficient measure of a central tendency. It is easy to calculate and does not require any complex calculations. Easy interpretation. Mode is the most easily interpretable measures of central tendency. It is used to measure the most frequent value in a set of data. Advantage of categorical data. Mode is particularly useful for categorical data as it is the only measure of central tendency that can be used for such data. The other measure of central tendency, such as mean and median, cannot be used for categorical data. Only mode can be used for categorical data. Beneficial for skewed data. Mode is a also useful measure of central tendency for data that is skewed or has outliers. The mean and median can be affected by the outliers and skewed data, but mode is not affected by skewed data. Disadvantage of mode. Mode is a mathematical concept used in statistics to represent numerical data's most frequently occurring value. Although this measure is widely used, it has some disadvantages also. One of the disadvantages of using the mode in mathematical is that it can be misleading. It can be easily influenced by outliers, which are values much higher or lower than the rest of the data set. This means that mode can be significantly skewed and is not necessarily representative of the data set. In addition, mode does not tell you anything about the data distribution. It can't tell the data distribution clearly or the percentile ranges of the data set. While the mode does not tell you the most frequent value in the data set, it does not tell you anything about where else the data values may lie. This can result in inaccurate conclusions being drawn from the data set. The mode is not useful for analyzing data sets with multiple values appearing the same number of times. This is because the mode is only designed to analyze the data sets with single non-repeated values. Mode also has the disadvantage of being sensitive or to outliers. Outliers are values that lie outside the broad range of data sets and can significantly change the mode of data sets. Finally, the mode does not accurately measure the average of data set, meaning that it cannot be used to identify potential meaningful trends in data. Finally, we'll come to the conclusion. Mean, median, mode, and are the three most commonly used measures of central tendency, and each has advantages and disadvantages its own. The mean or average is the sum of the set of values divided by the number of values. This is useful measure of the describing a largest set of numbers as it captures the entire range of values in a single number. When sorted in numerical order, the median or a middle number is the value in the middle of a set of numbers. For example, mean, median, and mode are not useful for describing extremely skewed data. Additionally, the mean does not capture the range of values within the data, and the median and mode do not capture the average value of within their data. Finally, outliers values may affect the mean, while the median and mode are not. So far, we discussed about literally the advantages and disadvantages of mean, median, mode. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.